So if you thought justice for Dan was taking too long, let me introduce you to Crystal Rogers. Crystal Rogers, victim, and was rumored to be in the process of leaving her boyfriend, Brooks, and to have knowledge of his tax fraud and dirty business dealings. This is rumored. Crystal's mother believes Crystal overheard something she shouldn't have about the killing of Officer Ellis. Who's Officer Ellis? Officer Ellis was killed, shot. He was the only officer in Bardstown trained with a canine unit for sniffing out drugs, and they have a serious drug problem, meth problem in that area. And they also have something that they call the cornbread mafia. Of course.
Good Lord.
Yes. And I'm beginning to wonder if the Houck's brothers and family have something to do with some kind of organized crime, but I don't know. So an inmate claimed that Officer Ellis was shot because he was close to an investigation of a ring of storage shed burglaries and business burglaries. Now, I say, sounds similar to stealing roof shingles? Well, Brooks was actually arrested for stealing roof shingles. Now, it's said that Brooks has accumulated wealth of about $10 million by doing, it sounds like he does real estate development, but also real estate investment. And he has some 100 properties. So where did he get that money? Did he start out with that money? Was his family wealthy? I'm not sure. But also, if he's got to steal roof shingles, what is happening here? I mean, the whole thing is just so weird. So, in addition, there was a school teacher in Bardstown and her daughter who were brutally murdered around the time, and I'm going to give the timeline real quick here. And then Crystal's dad was shot also. Crystal's dad was shot because, well, the motive is thought to be, we'll put it that way, that they wanted to stop his digging into who killed Crystal and why.
Yeah.
Number one, that I thought was weird, Brooks Houck, who is Crystal's boyfriend, who claimed she just wasn't there when he woke up one day. They have a baby together. He's worth $10 million. He has no affiliation with law enforcement, but he ran for sheriff. He ran for sheriff of Bardstown. So that's kind of weird. Somebody looking for maybe power so that he could continue to do his roof shingle stealing or whatever he's doing. His brother, Nick Houck, was a cop who was fired after failing a lie detector about Crystal Rogers and also interfering with the investigation.
Yep.
Nick Houck had a problem with John Snow, who was a fellow officer who was interviewing Brooks, his brother.
And then he barged in on the interview, right?
Via the phone. He called him and said, you don't have to talk. Nick Houck also was very suspicious of the police, even though he's a police officer. He was very much a gaslighting narcissist. His interview is really fun. Really fun.
Nick or Brooke?
Well, both of them, but Nick, okay. I'm referring to Nick right now.
Okay.
Granny Houck reminds me of Donald Adelson. She was fighting for custody. And Crystal's mother was not allowed to have their baby until now. After Brooks got arrested and they got exposed, and I want to watch this hearing. Did you watch that hearing?
Mm-mm.
It was very hard to hear. She dropped her bid for custody.
Because Crystal had other children, right?
Yes.
Okay. And okay.
Yep.
But just the one baby with Brooks, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So in order to get Brooks indicted, they went through the grand jury process. Of course, you know the grand jury process is supposed to be secret. Every single family member, the Houck family, each and every one of them recorded
it.
The grand jury.
It.
I mean, And it sounds like they're not even going to be nailed for it.
Oh my God.
Also, Danny Singleton, Brooks' best friend, lied to police during the investigation, and he was jailed for 8 months for perjury, which is very unusual, but he was. Yes. Crystal is the name of Brooks' new girlfriend.
Ick.
And she was arrested for tearing down signs for missing Crystal. Help us find Crystal. And of course, I mentioned Brooks was arrested for stealing roof shingles. This is all since the Crystal went missing.
And how many years ago did she go missing?
We'll get to that. So,
Okay.
And then another woman's remains were found near where Crystal's car was found, but not Crystal. So that's weird. So what happened is her car was left with a flat tire, with her wallet and her phone, everything in it. And she was never to be seen again. But they found another woman's body buried there. So that's weird. Like, who's that? They don't even know who that is yet.
Right.
So that was in 2020. So that was later. So let's go through the timeline. I had to write this down. The first killing was the 2013 murder of Jason Ellis, who is the Bardstown police officer. It was May of 2013. The second, and he was shot multiple times with a shotgun, and it was described as tactical. It was either military or police knowledge, the way that it was done. There was a tree put out in the road to stop him from going off the roundabout exit. The tree was not from that area. It was not indigenous to that area. So somebody came with a tree in their trunk that they cut down from somewhere else and put it in. So there was a lot of planning involved.
Okay.
So that was a 12-gauge shotgun. The second was in April of 2014, and this was the brutal homicide of 48-year-old Kathy Netherland and her 16-year-old daughter, Samantha. This is very strange. She was a school teacher, loved, beloved, did special ed. Kathy had been shot multiple times, and Samantha had been bludgeoned about the head. And so there's possibly 2 people involved in that. And then both women had their throats slit.
Wow.
So there is some question as to whether they also saw or heard something that might have been a threat to the Brooks or the Houck family. Third, the 2015 disappearance of 35-year-old Crystal Rogers. So Rogers was last seen on July 3rd at the home she shared with her boyfriend, supposedly by him, Brooks Houck, and their 2-year-old son at that time, and other children. So she had 4 other children with Mr. Rogers, who she had divorced from. So 2 days later, it was her mother who reported her missing, not Brooks Houck.
Yeah.
And like I said, her car was found abandoned along the Bluegrass Parkway, which is where all these shootings were.
And if I remember right, the mom had run into him, and he had the baby with him, which she thought was very weird because he was not a very involved dad. It was always Crystal that had the baby with him. And then she asked him if he'd seen her, and he made up some excuse. And then she's like, well, I think I'm going to file a missing report. And he said, yeah, you should probably do that. So it's bananas that he didn't do any of it.
Right. And there was also some of her friends said that Crystal was ready to move out. She was done with the relationship.
Yeah.
So if she told him, I'm done, I'm moving out, he could have snapped and killed her. Or maybe she said, I know, maybe she knew things about him that he didn't want out. That's some of the working theories. Yeah. So, and then the fourth murder is a year later after Crystal, is in November. This is so tragic. Crystal's father, Tommy Ballard, was fatally shot also in the chest by an unknown gunman when out hunting. And he was with his 11-year-old grandson on family property. And the child has been ruled out. This is the kicker. It was announced at Brooks' arraignment last week that the weapon that Tommy was murdered with had been found. and was tied to the Houck family.
That's amazing.
Right. And it
Any
was
chance
after,
that weapon was the same weapon that killed Ellis?
they haven't said yet.
Okay.
But this was a different shotgun. I believe it was a 12 gauge
Okay.
with it was a 12 gauge. But the other point is that the shot to Tommy Ballard is also thought by police and authorities to have been done by someone who knew what they were doing. It was a kill shot.
And wasn't there like a tree?
Yep, there was camouflage
cleared specifically,
Yep.
and
Yep. So it looked like it could have been the same person who shot the officer or that type of training. So really, really tragic. So that's it. So Bardstown, Kentucky has been the site of several murders and unsolved murders in recent years. Again, it's Officer Ellis, Crystal Rogers, Kathy Netherland, and her daughter Samantha, the teacher, Tommy Ballard, Crystal's father. And by the way, Crystal's aunt was also murdered 30 years prior while pregnant.
That's
her
crazy.
Killer was never prosecuted. I don't know if her body was found or not, but I think they believe that was the father of the baby. She was pregnant. So interestingly, the arrest of Brooks Houck comes just weeks after the FBI. Okay, here's the FBI.
See, this one feels like an FBI should be involved because of the multiple murders. And yeah.
So they arrested Joseph Lawson, and Joseph Lawson is an affiliate of Brooks Houck. And they arrested him on criminal conspiracy to commit murder and complicity in tampering with physical evidence. And this is from oxygen.com. So it was a few weeks prior. So Brooks probably knew he was next. He knew this was coming. Yeah. And then the FBI did take over the investigation. Sometimes it's just a matter of resources.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I was mentioning in Tallahassee that they've put so much into this resources, and there's a lot of crime in Tallahassee. And it's such a voluminous case, and with the Markel case I'm talking about, that there does come a point where sometimes they just have to take the help that they can get. So the FBI did take over this investigation. And I think if it's conspiratorial, that is something the FBI would be involved with. The Adelson case is pretty complicated, so it doesn't have to be multiple victims necessarily. There are a lot of different reasons for the FBI to take over a case. So they did say that they searched, the FBI, once they took over, they searched one of the subdivisions that was built by Houck's construction company. And after the FBI recovered an item of interest. Now, that could have been the gun. It could have been something else. And that the FBI has had this evidence tested at Quantico. Now, also, I can't remember the details, but when I was looking up this summary and reviewing what I had read, I thought the working theory, too, was that they took Crystal's body, the two brothers, Nick and Brooks, took her body out to their family farm and somehow disposed of it. And for some reason, I feel like it may have been a fire, some kind of a burning thing. So I don't know if there was some kind of a burning mechanism. Not that they were like Chad Daybell, like putting him out in the fire pit, but I felt like there was some kind of a furnace type of thing out there where they could have put her body into. Right. So, yep. And so finally, Brooks has been arrested, and probably Nick Houck will get arrested. I'm guessing. Just my opinion.